All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening. This is your boy, a different echelon. You are now listening to and watching the different echelon podcast. Very happy today is February the 18th, 2021. I am Darius Nolan, different echelon, all that good stuff. We're continuing our month long tribute to February. It's a holiday that we actually celebrate in America. It's the month of love, I guess you could say, along with Black History Month. So we're actually able to do two things at once. We're going to celebrate Black history and also celebrate love. So last week we had guests on Terrell and Toya Hayward of Goose Creek, South Carolina. They're actually pastors of a great church here in the Charleston area. They came on and talked to very good about their different things going on in their lives, a lot of testimonies, a lot of doubt that turned into faith, that turned into results in a positive manner. And we're very happy to see and hear them and talk to them about what they were doing. So I just wanted to extend that. And today we have two more guests. Lovely, lovely couple. I cannot think of two people that I like more than these people we're going to bring on today, in addition to Toya and Terrell of last week. We're going to have Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Matthews. Now, I believe they're in the Charleston area, but they'll correct me in a second. But before we get into them, of course, we do a little segment on current events. So I guess we could say melancholy so long to our good friend Rush Limbaugh. I read an article today. They called him the divisive one, the divisive shock jock. Rush Limbaugh died. I think he was 70 years old. He passed away on yesterday. He made his imprint. Love him or hate him, he made his imprint. He did what he set out to do, which was to push a certain agenda. I personally did not really care for his behavior, but there's some people who loved him and they liked him and they followed him, and he really put it down for his people. Hate him or love him, you don't wish anything ill on him or anyone for that matter. I believe he did succumb to cancer. So a melancholy see you later to Rush Limbaugh. He is where he is supposed to be in regards to his maker, his master. All right, I want to clarify that. I want to clean that up real good. Anyway, so we got that out of the way. I wanted to talk to my friends. We have them on right now. And please, you guys on Facebook and on Instagram, excuse me, not Instagram, on YouTube, you guys please leave comments. If there is any issue with visibility or audio, please let me know. If you type it in the comment section, I will see it here on the platform that I'm using, and I'll be able to make the necessary correction. So without any further ado, we're going to bring them in. I can see them now. They're looking so lovely and so ready to be seen. These are my friends. My friends, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
What's going on, bro?
Hey, how you
Doing
doing?
great.
All right. So this is how can I say this? The legal names. I'm going to do the legal name first. I'm gonna be nice to you, sis. Be nice to you. I'll let you say what your legal name is, but I know them as Matt and Penny. You guys, where you guys live now? You live in Charleston? Where y'all live?
We're in Goose Creek.
Goose Creek. Okay, y'all in Goose Creek too. All right. Well, that's
Yeah.
y'all growing out there in Goose Creek. Yeah, somebody said earlier this week at work that Goose Creek is really, really becoming popular. So I think that whole Monk's Corner and Goose Creek area is really growing. Anyway, happy to have you guys on. So
Thank
for
you.
Good to be
everybody,
here.
for sure, for everybody, man, what year did we actually meet? Oh,
What year was it?
so what, 2009 maybe or earlier?
2004.
2000, oh, 2004.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So let's talk. Let's talk. So we met at a religious center in this area. No, we seriously we met at church. Matt and Penny came. Where did y'all come from? To when you came to Charleston?
We came from North Carolina.
Okay,
We've
all
been
right. I
together.
think I remember that now. I remember that now. So you guys came from North Carolina. We actually fellowship together. And before we get into that, I'm gonna back up a little bit. I'm gonna let you say hello to everybody and introduce yourself and kind of give a little intro about yourselves, first of all, before we get into the whole question and answer conversation piece.
Okay. My name is LaQuinta Matthews.
All
That's my
right.
government name. And we've been married for 22 years, going on 22 years. We met in the Navy. This one. And we've been together ever since.
Wow.
And I'm Samuel. Everybody calls me Matt. As she said, we've been married 22 years. Actually, it's going to be 22 years, March 18th of this year. Been together 24 years. Certainly saw her and just knew that this was the one for me. And there the story began, and we're still together.
Yeah, they say something now. If you know, you know. So I guess you guys knew,
Yeah,
you know,
I
right?
knew she didn't.
Oh man, and that's a good segue. That's a good segue. So you guys met in the Navy.
Mhm.
So tell me about your first interaction.
Well, this nice gentleman, I saw him outside the hospital,
All
and I
right.
introduced myself because I saw that he was new to the
Mm-hmm.
facility.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just talking, and he just froze. And I'm like, "You okay? You okay?" He said, "God just told me you're going to be my wife." I said, "Brother, you need to praise the Lord." And I flipped. I flipped.
Wow. Wow. So Matt, what was your response to that? Like her reaction to you?
You know what? Here's the thing that's funny. I really didn't pay that much attention, but she says that. I think the funny part about that is I'm saying that while we're both on the smoke deck smoking. So
And when he speaks, he speaks.
you can be torn about some things and just know something so definitely. And believe it or not, the more she ran, the more I chased.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was definitely it was definitely a God thing, and I'm so glad I chose her.
Right. Right. Right.
Accept
Hey, oh yeah, that's that's good. That's good. I see you had to save that one, Penny.
it.
Yeah, and I'll just go back, take a trip down memory lane. When we met in church, Matt, you and I hit it off right away. I think we saw a lot of ourselves in each other, and I was married at the time, and I think my then wife and Penny, you guys had a good relationship. At that particular church, I was the minister of music, and we had a good time. We had a good time singing songs and rehearsing and whatnot, and we worked well together, Matt. Because I was with the music and you ran sound and just some other things, and you were like the best sound engineer I ever had, man. I don't even think you knew what you were doing, but you made it sound good, and that's all I cared about. You know what I'm saying? And I have to say that it was hard for me to see you guys go. I remember when you guys went to Buffalo, I think, right?
Yeah.
Left hand went to Buffalo, and I was like, "Oh man, my buddy is going." Like we used to talk every day.
Mhm.
If not on the way to work, I would come over to y'all place and change my clothes and go
Mhm.
to rehearsal and all. I didn't want to drive all the way back to where I live,
Mhm.
so it was very, very good. But we actually had a good relationship, and I'm glad that we're able to keep in contact, especially to be able to do something like this. And when this idea came along, I was like, I need to talk to Matt and Penny, and I wanted to get a set of people, a couple, I should say, that that have been through some things. And because one of the testimonies of a good marriage is, longevity, endurance, and durability. And you guys have been mighty, mighty durable down through the years. Can you guys remember your first ever argument?
I can't. So it must have been you.
Well, I'll tell you what. She says she can. I think our biggest real argument was, when we were in Chicago.
Right.
One of the big things for me is, hey, I didn't know anything else. I'm saved now, so I'm gonna go everywhere. I'm not thinking about my family or anything like that. So
Hmm.
I spent more time outside of the house doing other things than spending more time in the house with my spouse.
Right.
And I can remember, she looked at me and she said, you know what, I'm leaving. And she went in the room and she started packing her bags. And I went in the room and started packing my bags.
Oh, wow.
And she ran out. She ran to the car. I got in the car. And I looked at her and I told her, I said, "You can't leave somebody that's going to go with you."
Yeah.
So I think that was our truly, that was our really big fight. Certainly, disagreement.
Right.
But we got through it. We
Right.
got through it.
Right. Is that the way you remember it too, Penny?
Yes, that's what I remember. I mean, I wouldn't see him on Saturdays until later in the night. And I'm like, where have you been? He said, I was helping a brother get delivered.
Wow.
And I said, oh, well, what happened? He said,
Right.
we were burning his pornography. And next weekend come and he's gone again. I said, why don't you just help stop him from having a subscription to the things and they won't keep coming to the house.
Right.
But he would do that. He would go to Chicago, what's it called, the river? He would go to the river and he would go down there and him and a friend would go and just talk to the young people and that was it. But he was gone all the time.
Yeah. That's one of the things that you have to, as men, we get so gung ho about helping somebody else, and women too. But I'm just going to say, in this thing we call ministry, we forget about the first ministry, which is home.
Yeah.
And I can truly say, with a totally clear conscience, I used to do the same thing, and y'all know firsthand. Like we would be in that church 8 days a week, and number 7 days in a week. But we'd be doing that kind of stuff, and you have to have balance. And the one thing I did admire about you guys is that you guys always took vacation. And I think what happens is you need the time to let your relationship, be rejuvenated, be resuscitated. And I had vowed that, if and or when I ever walk that out again, that my wife then and I will take vacation. We will get, resuscitated and get rejuvenated, and you can get some clarity of mind. Do you guys remember your first vacation together? I'm not talking about your honeymoon, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what was your first vacation?
We came down here to South Carolina to see his family.
Right. And your people were like, man, from like 17
Hollywood, the city.
Hollywood, Hollywood, South Carolina, not California. Yeah, so you saw your people down here, and what did you at that time know that you guys will be living here later, or did it ever come
No.
occur to you?
No, not until later in life, and after he retired from the military, and his family had some issues. His dad had some health problems,
Right.
So we decided to move back.
Right. But when you came to visit that time, you had not been stationed here, right?
No.
Yeah, so you didn't know your orders were going to be here even for that moment either.
Right.
Yeah. And that's interesting because South Carolina is way different from Chicago, which is way different from Bmore, where you're from, right, Penny?
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I would like for you to share this story with the audience. This story involved a dead body.
Oh.
So please amuse us with this story. Yeah, tell the story, please.
Okay. He came to my hometown to meet my mom. He wanted to ask my hand in marriage.
Okay.
And so we just hung out that day. And later at night, we were asleep, and I woke up, and my mom was gone. I'm like, where is she? And she was outside. And then she came back in, and she said, baby, you have to tell him to move his car. Because I looked out, and it was a yellow tape, police tape.
Mm-hmm.
It was like this close. This close to his car. And the police were out there and the detectives. And she said, he has to move his car. And when I told him, he jumped up, he went out there, he moved further down, and he said, pack your bags. When he came in, he was like,
You going to a hotel?
We're leaving. No, we left.
You left, period. Wow. Where were y'all living at the time?
We were in Illinois, right?
Yep, we're in Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah, wow. And that, so y'all had driven to Baltimore to visit
hmm
your mom. You know,
Yeah.
and another aspect of this whole thing, and that's a funny story because I remember when you told me that story, man, I was like, what? I mean, you know, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. You know, their bodies all over the place. But I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Baltimore, you know, that show, my favorite show, The Wire. The Wire.
That's it.
And some, I
That's
think we
it.
talked about that, Penny. You were like, "Dude, that's
Yeah.
for real.
That's
That's
for
for real.
real.
That's the real
It
deal."
was for real.
You know, and you know, you in the military, Matt. Penny, you got out. Um, you know, we have another set of friends, Onika and Kurt,
Mhm.
Yes,
that
yes.
were also military couple. I was always very curious as to how you guys kept the dynamic together, moving from city to city. Um,
hmm
you know, some people have a hard time making new friends or adjusting to a new surroundings. Now, how did those types of things challenge your marriage?
You know, I think those things they can either be a challenge or they can be something that motivates you in marriage.
Mhm.
Every time we went, I must say, and I just think it was really a God thing. Every place we went, we just met people that we just gelled with.
Right.
And that really helped to alleviate the challenge of having to move to different places. It certainly was tough, but you know, for me, it made me even love her even the more with her resiliency and wanting to go on this journey with me, wanting to, you know, say, okay, I'm going to, you know, move with you because you know, I was married before, and one
Right.
of the biggest things that led to divorce was not wanting to move to the next place. But the one thing I can always say is when she married me, I was not at my best. I was not at my optimum. You know, as she would say,
Right.
I was a dirt bag. and, and honestly, to give her credit to the whole Echelon Nation, this woman helped build me up and help make me what I am. So I do give her credit for that and credit for just staying with me in all my crazy decisions and all the moves. So, you know, we stayed consistent with each other and, you know, we understood that we have to be each other's friend. So
Right.
that's the thing that really helped us.
And I'm glad you brought that up, you know, Matt, because you know you talked about you were not at your best at the time when you guys met. So if I may ask, from the time you got divorced to when you met Penny, what was the time period in that?
Wow.
The truth and shame the devil, please.
Well,
You
you
lying to
know,
my people.
we were already separated for two
Okay.
years.
Okay.
I was in Tennessee while she was in Cleveland, Ohio,
Hmm.
and during this period of time, even when we met, I
Hmm.
was still in the process of still getting divorced when we met.
Right.
So you know, I would send a petition and she'd send something back, and you know, it just finally got to the point that you know, it was like, hey, whatever you want, I don't care.
Right. I
You
want
can
out.
have it. I
Right.
need to be free,
Hmm.
especially being with this woman, and that's the direction we, you know, we went in, and it's paid off for me.
Right, right. Now, when you say you were not at your best, and this is one of the things that I want to kind of speak on because I'm a divorcee now, and I know that there was a time where I had to get myself emotionally strong to go back out there. And did you feel that, Matt, that that you were like kind of like empty or weak emotionally, that you needed Penny to live through? Like, you know, you needed someone like Penny to come along and not to take advantage of you, but to identify that and then, you know, appropriately, you know, handle you, so to speak. Did that occur to you at all?
You know, I don't think that really occurred to me.
Hmm.
I just knew that she was totally different from what I ever knew, what I ever expected.
Hmm.
And the one thing about her is that this woman's a absolute comedian. Um, I take things a little bit more seriously
Oh,
than she
oh,
does.
really?
I'm really the more serious, stoic,
Right.
just really, and she was totally different, and
Hmm.
I think that helped create that balance for me. So it was
Hmm.
more so that I don't think it was a fear of getting back out there. I think it was I was missing something, and
Mm.
what I was missing was the thing I needed to balance me.
Right.
And what I realized is the thing I needed to balance me was totally different from what I was. And
Right.
that's exactly what she was.
Penny, what would you say is the biggest difference, aside from your personalities, as far as comedy and being serious? What would you say is the biggest difference between you and Matt?
Like he said, he is more serious
Okay.
about everything.
Right.
And I think like you said, I think I balance him. He
Hmm.
can go a whole day like just complaining about something that happened at work or whatever. And I just come in and I'll just say something to just make him laugh or smile.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
Yeah, so
Matt,
we
would
are
you
totally
agree with
different.
that? I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said we're totally different.
Oh, absolutely.
You agree with
Absolutely.
that? Yeah.
Absolutely. But I don't complain about something all day.
Yeah, I
I
was
don't
going
do
to
that.
say she tried to put you out there.
Okay.
Yeah. No, and I think that's interesting. And I mean, as your friend, Matt, I remember, hanging with you or working with you on a more consistent basis. You were like very crank up. But it helped me to become more serious about what I needed to do. And so I do think there's a place for that, but it is good because, you and I were friends. This is your wife. So the balance needed to be there at home. You know what I'm saying? And, when I look at a home, I look at it as a place of solace and of refuge. And so when the world and work and, your friends and your family, they're acting ridiculous and they're testing your gangster, as they say, you need to be able to go home and have peace and tranquility. And what's so sad about it is that, a lot of marriages don't have that peace at home. I know some people who would work just so they wouldn't have to go home. And that leads to another thing that I have to speak on, which is, number one, mental illness, depression, and then suicide or domestic violence.
Mhm.
And that's an issue because it happens.
Yes.
And I'm not going to ask you, have you guys ever, dealt with that personally? That would be a little bit too personal. And if you want to speak on it, you can. If not, you don't have to. I'm not going to push that issue. But I want to ask you a question about being open and transparent with each other to talk about these things, like whatever is irking you, because my father, may God rest his soul, would always tell me that, what, you're just one argument away force, or you're one argument away from a fight,
Mhm.
and you're one argument away from saying something that you may seriously regret. Because once you say it, you can't take it back. You can apologize all you want. So, how important is transparency and then communication, and communication not to get your point across, but actually to resolve the problem? How important is that to you guys?
Go ahead.
Um, it's very important because you have to have that line of communication open or everything
Mhm.
else will fail because I wouldn't know what he's doing. He would know what I'd be doing or what I'm thinking, what's on my mind or my emotions,
Mhm.
how I'm feeling at that time. So it's
Right,
very important that you communicate.
right, right. Matt, what do you say?
One of the things you mentioned, and especially in our community, and I mean the Black community,
Right, of course.
is one of the things that we shy away from is counseling.
Mhm.
I can be very transparent and say we were going through a very challenging time in our marriage, and I went to the church for counseling, and honest to God, this probably was the worst counseling I ever got. So,
Amen.
so we went and we sought Christian counselor that we would pay our money to. And we went to this lady called Dr. Donna, and I mean
She's anointed to do what she
You
does.
know, we went for about maybe 6 or 7 months, maybe longer, and we realized the benefit of counseling. And I think one of the greatest things that it taught us is it taught us how not only to communicate,
But dialogue.
but it taught us the importance of dialogue. Whereas, there's numerous times people talk about pillow talk, but what we've learned is that when we have those difficult times, once we actually say what we need to say and get it off of our chest, we're all right.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times you might have that fear to do that, but once you get to that point where they understand that even though you're saying these things, it still comes from a place of love. That's certainly a great dynamic. And another one of the tools we learned is when we can't do that, we would write each other love letters.
Oh,
So, when we say love letters, we always start off with, your most endearing quality is, and let them know what your most endearing quality is and what you love about them on that day. Then you get into what the issue is.
mm,
And, we don't get into the issue based on semantics. We get straight into the meat and the heart of the matter. And you when you read these letters, you have to deal with it.
right.
And that's what it really caused us to do. But I'll tell you what, counseling not only saved my life, but it also saved our marriage, because I didn't know what I was going to do, and I
Right.
just thank God for having the wherewithal
Right.
to be able to say, what, I'm going to go and seek help. And we sought help together as well as individually. So we would have individual counseling sessions as well as counseling sessions together. And I certainly encourage everyone
Mm.
to go and do things like that. Seek it out, because I'll tell you, it's certainly a benefit for marriage.
You know, I'm glad you said that, because you're right in our community, and I think that it's time out that we stop pretending that we don't have certain problems.
Mhm.
It's not weak. It's not sissified. It's not lame. It's not whack. It's not whatever you want to say to sit on a couch and tell people, because we learned years ago that pressure bursts pipes. So you have so much pressure, like that pressure has to escape at some point and has to go somewhere. So as opposed to actually exploding onto your loved one or onto yourself, speak your words and talk to someone who has a degree in what. And I mean, these people go to school and they go through intense training for that very same thing. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, when your car needs repair, you go to the mechanic. You just don't look at it. You actually get help with your vehicle. And I think that a lot of times we're just too proud to go to sit on someone's couch or wherever and get these questions answered. And it's time out for that. And I spoke on it. Last week. A young man. I don't know him personally, but I understand that he took his life. Young. I forgot his age or whatever, but young man took his life, and I don't know any of the details, but I just hope and pray that that doesn't happen to someone else. Whereas they can talk to someone and they can get their things out. And I saw a post on Facebook the other day, and I think it was something to the effect of, this is not a direct quote, but it's like, I'd much rather pick up the phone when you call than to have to attend your funeral.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was.
And 2020 taught us a lot of things about life and about humanity and about people, and we need to be there for each other, to be able to talk it out, and also to man and Penny, to have a brother, a sincere brother or a sincere sister to talk to say, hey, this is the thing, or someone that's actually going to give you good advice, that's going to pray for you, that's going to work with you to get things done. You can't trust everybody about your business.
Yeah.
You can't trust everybody about your marriage. So you need to have that person in your life. Um, do you guys have any couples that you actually admire or look up to? So, for example, some people would say, and I know you're not going to say it, but some people would say the Obamas, for example. Is there a couple, either in your personal lives or maybe like on television, that you guys would look to and say, you know what, I like them?
I would say for me, it would be his parents
Oh,
because they've been married for how long? Oh my
50
God,
years.
50 years.
wow. That's powerful.
So I love the way they interact with each other. They
Right.
joke, they laugh. I'm quite sure they have their serious moments, but
Yeah.
it's just the behavior towards each other that I like.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Matt knew. Matt, did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, you seem sincerely surprised by that. How did your parents raising you, Matt, growing up? How did they frame the way you treat your wife? You take any cues from your pops? And,
You
or,
know what? Honestly,
Mhm.
honestly, I think me and my dad are both still learning some things.
Right,
So I think with my wife, I wasn't as affectionate because I never saw my dad really be affectionate.
right.
In the black community, especially in that time, they kept all those things in private.
Say it again.
So I really had to learn how to be affectionate. When she would tell me I don't feel loved, I had to learn that that was from a place of me not being affectionate.
Right.
So I had to learn, okay, this is what it means to be affectionate for her.
Hmm.
And as my father's even getting older, I feel he's learning that, and I'm watching him in his interaction with my mom.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to always be more than what my parents were, and I think that's the thing that strives and motivates me. We got this little thing we do. We got like a cruise crew. So
Yeah.
when we go on vacation, we have a whole crew of couples that we go on this vacation. And one of my brothers had this concept when at the end of the cruise, we all have this big couples talk. It is
Mm.
absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet it is. Yeah. With that being said, going back to what women need, I've learned down through the years that they need to feel cared for, or I guess you could say love in general, protected, and feel heard.
Mm.
A lot of times, women feel like their man or their husband, boyfriend, whatever, they don't hear them. And, not to be sexist, but women do talk a lot.
Boy.
And, some of us hear it as yang, yang, yang. You understand what I'm saying? We don't hear it as actual, English or whatever language you speak. We just
It
hear it as
sounds like Charlie
English,
Brown.
Charlie Brown, exactly. Um, but Penny, what would you say is the thing that you have identified that Matt needs the most from you?
Mm. I know he gets wrapped up, like you said, he can get really into something.
Hmm.
And it's probably just um just talking to me.
Hmm.
I mean, if he's really busy, he's just doing something with the
Yeah, right.
computer or whatever. So
Mhm.
that's one thing.
So what I'm saying is, you think that he needs you to talk,
Hmm.
or it's something that you think he needs as a man to talk to
Well,
him?
hmm it's something that we
Okay,
learned in counseling.
right.
And what I got out of it is that women need love and
Mm.
men need respect.
True.
Yes. So it's a circle.
Right.
And if,
Right.
if he doesn't get respect, he doesn't feel a certain way. And if I
Right.
don't get loved, I don't feel a certain way. So we
Right.
look at it like that, as a circle, as a cycle, to make sure that we're on track.
Yeah, and I can say me personally, man, I'm typically a jovial person, but the one way you can really, tee me off is if I feel disrespected. Like then now it's the whole situation is different. And I think that, it's gonna lead into my next question. We hear this in church a lot, in religion and all that, the word submission. Okay, I think I struck a nerve and I'm so happy. um Submission. We're gonna let Matt go first because I feel like you're gonna be long winded with it, Penny.
Yes, a little
Tell me, what does submission mean to you as a husband?
You know, when we talk about submission, this is the one thing I always say about that, and this is something I learned from one of my former pastors. He said, you know what? They look at submission as a bad word, but submission is only needed where there's no agreement.
Mhm.
So is your marriage that disagreeable that everything has to go to a place of submission, whereas you need to listen to me?
Mm.
So how I look at submission in our marriage is when we can't come up with to an agreement on something, then ultimately, either I have to realize that, you know what, hey, we're gonna go with what you say, or I'm like, listen, hey, I'm the head.
That's right.
God's gonna hold me responsible. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it begins and ends with me. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
that's kind of how we run with it. But you know what? I will honestly say, once we realize that, the submission thing changes because we're not that disagreeable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Penny, what are your thoughts on the whole submission thing?
At first, when we first got married, and a lot of women feel this way. I'm not going to submit to no man. But to
Mm-hmm.
me, when I think about God, it's a male image.
Right.
So if you can't submit to your husband, that means you can't submit to others or to what he wants as far as the household to be going.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
So I
But
think.
now
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that I'm older and our relationship is seasoned, as they say, I have no problem. Like you said, we get together, we get along too good to actually have any issues with submission.
Right. Right. And I think that harmony is very very important.
Mhm.
Um, and I quoted this last week. One of my favorite songs. The chorus is, "I've learned in this life that you have to be with someone you like. You can't be married to somebody you don't like." Okay.
Mhm.
And with that being said, you have to be harmonious with each other, and you have to be like hand in glove. You have to be able to even like sense when your partner needs you in some way, shape, or form. And I just think that it's very important that you know the cues without the person telling you, because sometimes by the time they actually verbalize it, it's too late. You know what I mean? And as much as us as men, we say, well, you want us to be mind readers. Sometimes we want the lady to be our mind reader too, especially when it comes down to what we want to eat for dinner. Don't come out there with no meatloaf or we want chicken. There's going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? And so it's interesting though. But I want to ask you this. I meant to ask you this earlier. Matt being married before, and this is your first marriage, right?
No, it's
Or
my
your
second
second
time.
marriage. Okay,
Hmm.
okay, okay. So do you guys, and I ask you this joint question, do you guys feel like you brought any baggage in from the
I,
previous marriages? Okay.
I didn't, because I was divorced a long time,
Oh,
like
I see.
almost 10 years before I met him. So,
Oh, is that right?
hmm,
Penny, you don't even look that old.
I know, don't I? No, I'm just kidding.
No,
No,
no.
but I got married young. I went into
Okay,
the military, and so
okay.
that,
Right, right,
yeah.
right.
Hmm.
Now, what about yourself, man? Did you bring any
You
any
know,
any
sometimes
garbage?
you don't know you bring
You don't really.
baggage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the key thing for men. We don't know we bring baggage in.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing she told me, often early in our marriage is, you treat me like, um, the things that you said that you're not going to let happen to you again because of
Right,
what happened in your previous marriage.
right. Mm-hmm.
And as much as I denied it, eventually I had to come to myself and realize that, you know what, this is what I'm doing. And
Mm-hmm.
in doing that, I had to change behaviors. So, I think the thing is, we don't know we bring those baggage in.
Right,
But I know I did, and until you called out my smelly laundry,
right,
I didn't know that I needed to deal with it.
right. Yeah, and I think that's the thing about it. Sometimes, you have no idea that you're doing something that offends, her, or that you're carrying things. And I know in the state of South Carolina, when it comes down to divorce, I know every state is different. Here is a 1 year separation period, and then you can file for divorce. I think that's good because you need to get that residue out before you go into another situation. And I remember years ago, I was speaking to a coworker of mine, and she got married in Georgia. And at the time, the state law was that she only had to be separated for 1 month.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that seems to be a little hasty because you can go back, if you know what I'm saying, and get back get that old thing back, and then now it's the cycle all over again.
Yeah.
So that to me, I think is a very necessary amount of time, and you do have to get those things out. So we're gonna have some fun.
Okay.
Close out in a little while. I know you guys on a couples cruise.
Mm-hmm.
You bragged and already told me about it a couple years ago. I don't want to hear about it again. No, I'm just playing. What's your favorite? What's your favorite place to vacation?
We
Yeah,
like cruising. So
yeah,
What's favorite
in
your
place?
general.
favorite place? I
Yeah.
like them all.
Right.
I like the Bahamas. I like Cozumel.
Hmm.
I like them all.
Right.
I when we were when I brought this up to him that I said I would like to move to a different country.
Oh wow. Where do you
Yeah,
want to go?
I would go, but I don't know about it. I wanted to go to Africa, mainly like West Africa and Belize.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
thought you were gonna say Belize.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I think that's interesting. Why do you pick those places?
Mm,
You tired of
well, I
America?
went to Belize before, and I just like I like the diversity. There were
Right.
all types of people, all nationalities, I should say.
Right.
And Cozumel, I just had so much fun there, just
Hmm.
doing things.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. What about you, Matt? Your favorite vacation?
Um, man,
Hmm.
Belize always ranks high up there for me because we've always done a lot in Belize. We've had a lot of crazy time in Belize, and things seem to work out pretty well for us out
Yeah.
there. But Belize is definitely our favorite right now.
Hmm.
I also think oh, where was it? St. Lucia.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
St. Lucia would be the next, but we have great times there.
Okay. Um, that's good. That's good. So, what's your next vacation that you guys have planned to do, though? I know y'all always on the run. And Matt, you're
Well,
retired now, right?
right,
Right,
we haven't had the big one yet.
right. We were supposed
Planned
to
it.
go to Spain in April, but
Right.
COVID
Yeah,
canceled
it came
that. We were
through. I
supposed
read
to
that.
go. So our next vacation is not until, well, next month. We're taking a little trip and going to Vegas. But in December, we're going to Honduras.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's good. That's good. I think that'll be good for y'all. And this has been a great conversation because I've been able to learn things about you guys that I did not already know. And that's the whole purpose of this whole, quote exercise. So
Mhm.
we got a couple minutes left. I'm gonna let you guys have the last word. If you guys can give some advice to couples in general, but also give advice to young couples, maybe just getting married, or what would you advise them to
Wow.
do?
One thing would be from one of our adopted grandparents, Mother Roberts and Papa Oswell.
Hmm.
Um, during our when we were going to have our vow renewal that night, they
Hmm.
came and we were sitting. All the couples were sitting together again,
Hmm.
and everybody had questions and answers. And Mom said one thing. She said, "You young couples, you young people, you don't know what you're doing." Said the girl get mad and she won't talk to him, won't cook for him, won't
Right.
clean, nothing. She
Right.
said, "You got to be mad from the neck up."
Ah,
Mhm.
I got you. That's interesting. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's something I just kept on my mind a lot about that.
Right. 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 Right.
Mhm.
Matt,
That was unusual.
Man, what can you tell the I know you're getting the text from Obama. Like, you need hold on for
Uh,
1 second.
so I
Oh,
think I think for me, one of the things I'll say, and shout out to Lavish Sound.
Mhm.
Always, please do a vow renewal.
mm,
That was probably the greatest thing that ever happened in our life. You need the opportunity to reset. I don't care what the sacrifice is, do that, because that recommitment was not just a restart for us, but it
mhm.
was a recharge, it was a recovery, it was a new beginning. So I encourage all married couple, do a vow renewal, renew your vows, do something super out the box special
Hmm.
for and with your spouse.
Yeah, that's good. And we had a good time doing that, being a part of that that epic event. So that was 20 years, right?
Yes, it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't believe that was 2 years
I
ago.
know
Yeah,
it
it
goes
seemed
so
like it was
quickly.
just yesterday. Well, listen, man, I got to be honest with you, man. This has been a very insightful conversation. Um, I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to do this with me, and to also, encourage and advise my listeners and viewers. But I just want to say that marriage and relationship is nothing without communication. It's nothing without the just open lines. You never know what's faced around the corner. Um, you know, unless you communicate and unless you open the doors open to various things. So once again, thank Matt and Penny for being a part of this. I do think that they are just great people. They're excellent people, and they have definitely made their mark. And I hope you guys have enjoyed. Um, hope you guys have enjoyed. Then yeah, here we go. We had a little.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. I tried to talk my way through it, but
That's
but anyway, no, we do appreciate you guys for being a part of this. You guys are definitely a part of the Different Echelon family, and you guys have made a mark. So as always, you guys keep in touch. I'm gonna take you out like we talked about, but do not hang up. Okay. All right.
okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Right now, you want to say goodbye to everyone?
Yep. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. Love you all. Know that
Love
black
you.
love does exist.
It
Right. What about white love? What about Chinese love?
does.
Hey, all love exists.
All right, man. Once again, y'all, that was a Different Echelon podcast where we're here to educate, enrich, and to empower. That was Matt and Penny Matthews of Goose Creek, South Carolina, longtime friends of mine. Been married and together for over 20 years, I think 22 years that we celebrating their anniversary. And they'll be going out of town. They'll be traveling. They talked about communication and talked about, Penny talked about ladies being upset, mad from the neck up, which that was a message in and of itself. But love in itself is great. And I do believe we need more of that in this world. So I thank them for being a part of this podcast and this Facebook, YouTube Live. Once again, you guys are my family. I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for the comments. Sybil Green, Marlon Christopher, Antoine Evans, and those I haven't gotten down to the bottom yet to see. Thank you guys for leaving comments. I just do feel that we need to continue to encourage each other, be brothers and sisters for each other, take good advice. You will know if they have your best interests at heart. Just continue to go forward and continue to encourage each other and to love each other very, very much. So next week we're going to have a young couple. I will be putting the flyer out in a couple days that just got confirmed. Um, just got confirmed that I'm going to have a good friend of mine and her husband on next week. So please tune in. We'll be here. Actually, we're going to do it next Wednesday at 6. So you guys look out for the flyers and look out for the ads. Once again, this is your boy Darius Nolan, also known as a Different Echelon, where we're here to educate, encourage, and to empower. God bless you. Love you guys very, very much. You guys be safe, be positive, and God bless. All that good stuff. Until next time.